The validity and constitutionality of the Democratic Alliance's recall clause. He also questioned the cessation clause that was used to remove City of Cape Town Mayor Patricia De Lille. Mpofu argues that the clause has been inconsistent for different members within the party who have made similar statements as De Lille. The DA's rescinded De Lille's membership after a radio interview where she said she would resign as soon as she cleared her name. De Lille and the DA have been in a protracted fight. The fight has been marred by court cases, disciplinary hearings, motions of no confidence brought against De Lille in council, and finally stripping her of all her executive powers as mayor last week. Adv Dali Mpofu, who represents De Lille, made the court aware of the latest developments, but said he had no intention to officially bring this matter before the court, as he needed time to go through the responding affidavit himself. Instead, he spent the morning dealing with what he deems the inconsistency of the DA's constitution. The matter is set down for the next 2 days now.
Well, we continue with that story. In fact, we're going to take you live to the Cape High Court in Cape Town, where this matter, Patricia De Lille versus the DA, is being set down for 2 days to deliberate on matters like her removal as mayor and the rest of the allegations that have been levelled against De Lille. Advocate Dali Mpofu is her representative, and he's argued that the constitutionality of the party's recall clause. But let's listen in. Let's catch up.
Persuaded that we should come back. And the question now arises, but you publicly declared that you resigned. Now then you can't change your mind.
Sorry, is this the one with the letter that wasn't opened?
Yes, yes. There's a Supreme Court of Appeal judgment, but this is a judgment, a quote, that's not part of our papers by Acting Justice Irish. At page 93, paragraph 23. And he refers to Henderson and says, what the learned judge held was that once the disciplinary committee had established that Henderson had indeed been convicted of a crime such as envisaged in the federal constitution, there was no need for further investigation, since ipso facto, the party was entitled to terminate its membership by virtue of that fact. It seems to me that the circumstances of that matter are far cry from the argument that Mr. Borgstrom advanced the determination of membership and the resultant ward vacancy in George would then result from occurred ex lege. It is clear that it still requires a determination by the relevant political party concerned and a communication by that party after determination of membership to the relevant council. Please cease there. Yes, you come along and you say, well, look, he's no longer a member of the DA in terms of the own constitution, but it does require the party to follow its own process. That merit in that point then, with respect that it can't be under parja because there's no decision. It's the invisible hand that suddenly, like in the constructive resignation cases, the 14-day absence. Now, just a final point before dealing with aspects of parja. The interrelationships between public law duties and private law duties now running concurrently is a bit difficult conceptually, at least for me to understand in the Sandbox case. And I would like to refer your Lordships related to one part of it in our supplementary bundle at page 64. Justice Cameron explained in Logbro how these duties can run concurrently quite easily. At page 64 in our supplementary bundle, it starts off with Logbro, and this is what is envisaged by us here as a conceptual answer to the page 64, paragraph 23. The SCA, this is the Sandbox decision, refers to Logbro, then paragraph 24 on the right-hand side of the page. In Rockborough, the contention...
So that's where we're going to leave it for the time being. That's proceedings taking place in the Cape High Court, where Patricia De Lille is taking on her party against unfair... they're trying to dismiss her. And, of course, the proceedings that took place last week, where her powers as mayor were heavily curtailed, and that's being deliberated upon. We'll go back to there a little bit later on, but first let's catch you up with some weather, and then we'll have some business news for you after that.
But first, these news, Peter. The strike by workers in the city